Hello all, welcome to Paritranaya. So in this video we shall discuss about today's editorial articles and extract the important points from exam point of view, both prelims as well as mains. So this is the first article. A welcome step. The US and China must continue to keep diplomatic channels open. So this is an article which appeared today. So in this article there are very few points which are important, and that too these points are important from mains point of view and not prelims point of view. So what is that? So what are the binding factors for India and USA with respect to China? So shared concerns about the China. So the concerns about China is a common binding factor between India and USA. India and USA. So an example of a shared concern might be like this: trade domination. So China is trying to dominate its trade over other countries. So this is one common concern for both India as well as USA, and this has helped to bind the relationship between India and USA. So with this example we can remember this. So but now India has gone beyond the shared concerns and we have established a deeper relationship with USA. Means only shared concerns are not the only reasons for India and US ties, but there are other reasons as well. Next, now very soon our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is going to visit USA. So during this visit, some of the important agreements with respect to defense and technology are going to take place. Here, these points are only important from mains point of view. Okay, mains point of view. Next. So in the article, we have one more article today itself, embedded hate. So again, this is an article related to USA. So in USA, some armed forces and police officers, so they have been discriminating people based on color, and they are also discriminating other minorities. In that context, this article has appeared. So again, there are very few points important. So one such point is Minneapolis. So there may be a question in prelims. So they may ask you like, where is Minneapolis present? So it is present in USA. Okay, it is present in USA. And from mains point of view, what you can quote? So this color-based discrimination is not only present in developing countries, but it is also present in some advanced nations like US. So such kind of points can be made in mains as well. Okay, mains as well. Next, similarly, we shall move to the next article. Okay. A people of an emerald is waiting with dusras. So this is an article which has appeared, lead page article. Okay. So for this article also, again, we have extracted important points, and few of these points are important from prelims point of view and others are important from mains point of view. So what is important from prelims point of view? Generally UPSC focuses such kind of questions. It may ask about a community and in which country that community is located. So in this context, the community Sinhalese, and Sinhalese is a community which is present in Sri Lanka. This is an important point from prelims point of view. Prelims point of view. Apart from that, they may also ask question like this: which is the dominating community in Sri Lanka? So Sinhalese, so they have the largest population in Sri Lanka. So again, important. Next, second largest population in Sri Lanka is Sri Lankan Tamil. Next, Sri Lankan Moors, Indian Tamil. So here question which may be posed in prelims may be with respect to Sinhalese, or they may even ask about Moors. So where are these communities located? These communities are located in Sri Lanka. Okay, Sri Lanka. Next, in the context of India, this point becomes important. So in this article, we have a pact called as Sirimao Shastri Pact of 1964 and the Sirimao Indira Gandhi Pact of 1974. So such kind of, in prelims they may ask a question like, so between which two countries these pacts were signed? So these pacts were signed between India and Sri Lanka. So as a result of these pacts, what happened? So translocation of large number of Indian Tamils to India. It means many Indian Tamils who are residing in Sri Lanka, so they came back to India as the result of these two pacts. So this point becomes important from both prelims as well as mains point of view. Next point, this point becomes important from mains point of view, especially when we are expressing our answer. So in order to make it rich, so we need to quote the various problems which are faced by migrants in general, or the migrants from Tamil Nadu, from Sri Lanka to India in particular. For example, the repatriates are now part of the fluctuating fortunes of India's underemployed, self-employed, and unemployed wage searching masses. It means the people who have come from Sri Lanka to India, so they may be facing problems like underemployment, self-employment, and all. Okay, so these can be quoted in mains. Next, there is one more point. Similarly, the people of Tamil region who have gone to Sri Lanka, so initially they had faced some kind of problems, but now they have settled in Tamil Nadu. So this point indicates about it. So this can be used in mains, and there are no beneficial points from prelims point of view. So in the same article, the author also mentions about artificial intelligence. Okay, artificial intelligence. So here we shall go through the points of artificial intelligence in an isolated fashion. So artificial intelligence, where it can be used, what kind of applications does it have when it comes to agriculture? So the opportunities are, among others, helping predict weather using drones, help making planting, de-weeding and de-infesting near perfect if not zero defect operations. So what does it mean? It means artificial intelligence as well as what drones can be used to predict the weather. It can also be used for planting, for de-weeding and de-infestation. So in prelims, they may ask you such kind of questions. What are the applications possible with the help of drones? So in order to address such kind of questions, so probably this content will be beneficial. Okay. So this content, without connecting it to the article, let us learn in an isolated fashion and just remember these points. Okay, remember these points. Next, Rawalpindi gains the upper hand in troubled Pakistan. So this is a big article again which has appeared in The Hindu, but there are very few points from exam point of view, and even these points will be beneficial from mains point of view and less from prelims point of view. So what is this? So in Pakistan there has been a civil unrest. Okay, civil unrest. So people are fighting with one another and also with the government. So what is the reason? Because former Prime Minister Imran Khan, he has been arrested on charges of corruption. He has been arrested for charges of corruption. Because of that, civil unrest has arisen in Pakistan. So in that context, this article has appeared. So what are the general points which are important here and that can be used in mains? So here we have that point. So whenever military establishment becomes stronger and civil institutions, they get weaker. So generally, it is not only confined to Pakistan, but for any country. So that country has to bear the brunt, like it will face food shortages, it will face power outages, and along with that, it will also face the problem of limited fuel supplies. Okay, and all will lead to skyrocketing inflation. Okay? So this point, we should not confine it only with respect to Pakistan, but any country, whenever there is a military becomes powerful and civil institutions become weaker, so these are the common problems faced. So these points can be noted from the mains point of view. Okay, mains point of view. Next, Semiconductor Fab, the unfinished agenda. Very important article. Very important article, both from prelims as well as mains point of view. Okay, mains point of view. So whether India is good at producing semiconductors? No, India is lagging behind when compared to China. Okay, so China is now global leader when it comes to semiconductors. So in this article, they have discussed about the various challenges which India is facing in order to establish a semiconductor industry and how we can overcome them. So to set up a semiconductor fabrication plant in India, what are the strategic reasons? Means why do we need to establish semiconductor industry in India? Okay, because India's susceptibility to coercion increases due to its dependence on import of semiconductors. Now, India is import dependent on semiconductors. So it is predominantly dependent on China. So as more and more dependence on China increases, probably a time will come when it will become a choking point. So China may refuse to supply semiconductors to India. So at that time, India will become susceptible. In order to avoid this, if we domestically, indigenously build our semiconductor industries, then our dependency on China will be reduced. And in the upcoming years, so that will not become a choking point. That is why, from strategic point of view, it is very much important for us to build our own semiconductor fabrication units in India. Okay. So next is whether Indian government has made any kind of effort in order to boost the manufacturing in the semiconductor sector. Yes, recently Government of India has launched a scheme called as 2022 Semiconductor Mission. Okay, so later on we shall see about the important features of Semiconductor Mission. So in this article, they are not given the details about the semiconductor mission, but from curiosity point of view, we need to explore extra information about the semiconductor mission, and for that we'll be doing a separate video. But before 2022, whether there was any attempt to boost the semiconductor sector? Yes, there was an attempt, first attempt made in 2007 in the form of special incentive package. But the response to this scheme was not positive. It yielded no response. Similarly, second attempt was made in the modified SIP in 2012. It relatively fared better compared to 2007. In 2012, it fared better. Next, why semiconductor is important? So it is said that semiconductor fabrication represents the ultimate frontier of human technology advancement. So we say that technological advancement is happening, but there is a threshold for everything. So the ultimate threshold when it comes to what information technologies, developments with respect to semiconductor fabrication. So if at all we achieve the semiconductor fabrication indigenously, then it is the ultimate frontier of human technology advancement. We have already made advances in areas like space. We have made advances in areas like nuclear field and all. But when it comes to semiconductors, we have not been able to make advances on par with them. So it is very much necessary for us to make the advances in the semiconductor sector as well. Next, why this frontier is very much important and why we have to make the advances in a very faster manner? Because in the context of semiconductor, Moore's law says that the number of transistors in a unit area doubles every 18 months. Means the number of transistors used per unit area, it almost gets doubled in every 18 months. This is the Moore's law with respect to semiconductor industry. Hence, it is very much important for us to make the progress. Okay. That is why, as a result, the industry has seen a decline in the number of participants. So less number of people are interested in the semiconductor industry because of this challenge. Because continuously technology has to be upgraded. Now, when it comes to China. So China is a major player when it comes to semiconductor. So it started very late in the semiconductor fabrication industry, but it grew very fast. What were the reasons for its fast growth? It was backed by massive government financial support. So in China, to set up fabrication units, it received a huge support from the government. That was one reason. Next, over the last 2 decades, it acquired hundreds of loss-making fabrication units from around the world and built its fab industry. So what it did is China, across the world, the fabrication industries whichever were facing losses, so China acquired those industries and extended support. In this way, they were able to extend their fabrication industry, semiconductor fabrication industry. Apart from that, they were also aided by lower manufacturing costs. So compared to other countries, so the manufacturing cost in China is lower. Why? Because the manpower is available at a cheaper rate. And a massive electronics manufacturing industry. China's chip production has grown rapidly. So one is lower manufacturing cost, and apart from that, once you manufacture, you require a market. So China need not search for a market because already domestically itself market exists. Because when it comes to electronic goods, China is a dominant player. So whatever the semiconductor industry produced, it need not search for a market. Already the ready-made market was available in China. So all these factors aided for the growth of semiconductor industry in China. By the time US, the traditional leader. So before China became strong, who was the major player in semiconductors? US was the major player. But later on, China surpassed USA. So that is why now US has started worrying. So US realized the mistake, and now it again wants to occupy that top position. So that is why it is taking some of the steps to bring back the semiconductor industry back to USA. So what are those steps? We will be looking later on. Next, one more very important point for China is aided by its market supremacy in rare earths. So rare earths are the materials which are very much necessary for what? Semiconductor industry. And the maximum number of resources or reserves are owned by China. So it means China is dominating in rare earths. So this is one more factor which is helping for the growth of the semiconductor industry in China. Okay. Over the last year, US and its Western allies have blocked the transfer of latest fab-related technologies to China. So in order to gain what the top position, and what US and European countries are doing. So they are now unwilling to share the technology with the China. Okay, with the China. So here US has enacted an act. US has brought a new law, and the name of that law is Chips and Science Act in 2022. So what is its major intention? In an effort to bring back semiconductor manufacturing to the country. So previously, whatever the dominant position the US was having, in order to have that same dominating position, so it has brought a new law, what, in order to bring attraction with respect to the manufacturing of semiconductor in USA. Similarly, European Union also has taken such kind of measure in order to boost domestic manufacturing in semiconductor. So given these situations, India will have to contend with these countries, with USA, with China and European Union, in order to become what, global power with respect to semiconductors. Next, when it comes to investment in semiconductor is one of the riskiest. Why it is riskiest? Because when it comes to semiconductors, billions of dollars need to be recovered before the technology becomes absolute. Now something you will develop, okay, after developing you will market it. But before that technology becomes outdated, obsolete, you have to also gain the profit. But before you gain the profit and your technology becomes outdated and a new technology arrives, then you will face a huge loss. So that is why most of the people, they are not interested to invest in semiconductor, because if they are unable to recover the profits within the given time, then they will face huge losses. So this necessitates substantial production volumes for economic viability, often reaching levels that are adequate to meet global demand. So that's why what the industrialists will do, they will manufacture at a particular place, and from there they will supply it to the whole world. And also they are also aided by another positive factors. What are those? So the advantage of semiconductors having a small freight to price ratio. So now if you are, for example, if you are exporting an item from one country to another country, and if it is very much bulkier, then the freight to price ratio will be very high. But when it comes to semiconductor, the freight to price ratio is very less. So because of this, exporting of semiconductors will happen at a very cheap rate. That is why industries, they are manufacturing at a particular place, and from that place they are exporting to other countries. This is one more challenge why most of the industries are concentrated only in few countries and not other countries. Another one is Information Technology Agreement of 1996. So it says that when it comes to semiconductors, there will be no tax, no import tax. That is zero custom duty. So this is also one of the factor why industries are concentrated in only few countries and not across the globe, and especially India. This is why none of them are interested to start what greenfield fabrication lab. Greenfield means they don't want to start a new fresh industry in semiconductors. So apart from that, when you want to develop a chip industry, there are many other challenges. You require some chemicals and gases. All these things are required. So this is a major challenge. Next. Next challenge is when it comes to semiconductors, there are three different types of manufacturing. One is with respect to what? Logical processor, memory, chips, or analog fabrication. So here from Prelims point of view, these points are important. So here, which one is costlier? Logic processor. Logic processor are most expensive and analog are cheaper. So these things we need to know. And among these, which is the most complex technology? So logical designing of logical chips will be the most complex technology. So UPSC may frame such kind of questions. So these points are important. Okay. So now India's strategy has been to set up a new logic lab. Okay, in order to set up this lab, so India can learn from China. So China also initially within a span of 20 years, it has made tremendous progress because of these various features. So India has to learn from China. Okay. So next, okay, these points are not important. So finally, United Payments Interface. Okay, United Payments Interface. So UPI. So generally we use UPI on day-to-day basis when it comes to PhonePe, Google Pay and other things. So the things which are important here from exam point of view. So who can set the daily limits on the number of transaction and the value of transaction? So it can be set by National Payment Corporation of India. So whether the the limitations set on the transactions by National Payment Corporation of India, whether it has to be adhered strictly by all the banks, not necessary. Because if you look at the various banks FAQs, there are different limitations. So ICICI Bank, for example, says that 10 transactions in a 24-hour period, whereas Bank of Baroda, 20 transactions in the same period. It means there is no uniformity. Whatever the restrictions the NPCI has imposed, so those restrictions may not be necessarily be followed by the banks. Okay, so this is a very important point to note. Next, so when was UPI introduced? UPI was introduced in April 2016 as a pilot program. Okay, as a pilot program. Next, we shall see about the share of the various instruments in the volume of retail payments. Okay, volume means the number of transactions. When it comes to number of transactions, UPI has the highest number of transactions in 2022-23. So next, you followed by UPI are the next prepaid payment instruments. So all these, they come under retail payments. So under prepaid payments, an example can be Paytm, Amazon and all. The highest is UPI. Second one is prepaid payment instruments. Okay, in this context, it is also important to know about the other important instruments, retail instruments. So here we have NEFT, IMPS, credit cards, debit card and paper paste. Okay, paper paste. Next, at the same time, we also need to know about the share of various instruments in the value of retail payments. So we don't have the value of the other retail payments, but when it comes to share of UPI, it is close to 21%. So when it comes to volume, it is close to 75%, but when it comes to the value of transactions, then it is close to 21%. So again, this value is going to be beneficial from from both prelims as well as mains point of view. So in this video, we discussed about the editorial articles of June 21, 2023, and we also extracted the important points out of it. Similarly, in the subsequent videos, we'll be discussing about the important editorial articles. For all our updates, subscribe to our channel and hit on the bell icon. Thank you.